Morning friends, and it is a dark, dreary December morning. It is just past 8 AM, I believe. Kind of dark it is out there. But I have a new project on the bench, and it's not a paying job this is a job for a friend. And he's had this guitar since he was 18, and he's about, how old is that? He's 50 something now. It was an 18th birthday present, and it's a beautiful guitar, look at it. And it's a Yamaha FG335 version 2, made in Taiwan. There you go, so a very old Yamaha. Structurally, this is absolutely sound. It looks like it's got, it does look like an ebony fingerboard. And I don't know why Dave said it wanted work, because I can't find anything wrong with it. I'm sure he said it was buzzing somewhere. Well, that's not ebony, by the way, it's rosewood, it's just dark rosewood, I've just seen it. But I can't find anything wrong with it. I've played it up and down the neck, it plays absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is, the strings could do with changing, but he hasn't sent another set of strings and I don't have any. But they are elixirs, they are coated, so they will last a little bit longer. So I'll remove these strings, stick them back on when I've done. But all I'm going to do is, I'm going to check the action on the nut. The action looks absolutely fine. I'm going to check the neck for straightness. I already know the neck has got a little bit too much relief in there. And I'm going to check the frets for level, and if any frets need levelling, I'm going to level them. But I would think this just needs a good proper setup. I think the nut slots are cut a bit, we're not quite deep enough, so we're not over the first fret, the action's a little bit high. I've not checked the frets to see if they're level yet. I'll do that once I have the neck straight. Truss rod should be in this end, and it is, that's very good. So first thing to do, get the strings off. I'll check the action first, but then I'll get the strings off, we'll get the neck straight, and we'll go and check the frets. So I'm not expecting this video to be too long. I don't think there's a lot to do, but you never know. So let's get the strings off and let's go and have a look. So regarding the frets, we do have a couple of high frets, no major concern. One slight problem is it's only a one-way truss rod, and I loosened the truss rod right off, and we're still not getting the neck exactly straight. It means this guitar relies on string tension just to pull the neck straight, which is fine, but it makes things a little bit more difficult. What I've noticed is this last one fret here, not the fret, but this area of wood, it actually curls up at the end, and that is the reason I can't get the neck exactly straight. Now I could, if I wanted to, be picky, I could remove this nut, which is embedded into a slot, and I could just file down this piece of wood, but the problem with that is I'd be going across the grain instead of with it, and it wouldn't do the guitar any favours. So I'm going to set the level across the frets and not across the fingerboard itself. I mean, that is pretty much, it's quite straight, it's just not perfectly straight. So I'm going to basically put the level across the frets, and I know there are three slightly high ones, and I'm going to mark them, and I'm going to hand file them, and I'm going to get them. I'm going to use an educated, I'm going to say an educated guess, an experienced, use my experience to get them where I need them to be, and for that I need this. And the neck is just about straight, this curls up at the end. So it's a very, it's a very weird scale length as well. It's not a weird scale length, it's 25¼ inches. Which you do get on some acoustics. So we've got a little dip there, only at this end of the guitar. So I'm going to do the level across the frets. And they're not high frets anyway, they're really weedy frets. I would, if this was going to be a paid job, I would be recommending a refret on this, and we'd go with some higher frets. And what we could do then is, even if the fingerboard is a little bit skew width along the length, we get as straight as we can, and we do the level across, we use a high fret, probably 1.4 millimeters, these are about 0.7. So double the height, and what we do is we'd level across the frets, not across the fingerboard. And that way we've got, because what happens under the frets, basically, you don't play the fingerboard, you play the frets. It's where your strings touch. The fingerboard is just there to support the frets, obviously. You can't put frets in thin air, can you? You know, so your playing surface is actually the frets, not the fingerboard. So if the fingerboard's not exactly straight under the frets, as long as the frets are level, they're straight level with each other, it's not a problem. There we go, a couple of frets need work. Just going to hand file these and reprofile using a hand file. This guitar is, it's 54 now, 34 years old, no 36 years, 36 years old. Well, he's had it for 36 years. He got it for his 18th birthday. So I'm doing this as a gift. He doesn't know I'm doing it as a gift. Just a little bit there. So it doesn't need major work. It'll probably take me an hour or so to get this sorted out. And I can move back onto the Fender refret I'm doing. Always the one where the neck joins the body. That's always high. In this case it's fret 14. I won't say always, but in most cases. So yeah, this does need some fret leveling, quite a few frets as well. Always at this end are high, crikey. So the 3 I initially found, we've now gone up to 4, 5, 6, 7 frets so far. So if this was a paint job, I would be recommending a complete fret level. The last one won't matter. So we have 8 high frets, so let's check them again. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 frets needing attention, so I'm going to get the grinding stone out, a flat one. We call it a whetstone, and I'm going to level these frets, get them recrowned, get them polished, and then we'll look at the nut when I have the strings back on. Right, so done this end. I didn't go with a whetstone in the end, I just went with a flat number 4 cut file, a very, very smooth and flat file. It's Swiss made, very, very fine cut. And instead of using a whetstone, I just went across the frets that needed levelling and just basically brought them all level using a super flat file, like so. And all these at this end are done. I need to polish out these file marks now, which I'm going to polish off that way. I'm just going to go over the ones that needed doing and just show that they are now all level. And we had a succession of frets, about 4 or 5 in a row. And there you go. In fact, we're about 6 there, and they are now all level. So I have this one to do, this one to do, and this one to do. I'm going to use the same method. I'm just going to check. It's just high on the edge. Flat side of the file, which is this one, and it's just a matter of going over that one fret and using the ones at the side as guides, not cutting into the others, just bringing this one down to the level of the others around it. And then we'll turn the file over, do it one stroke that way just to remove the scratches. We'll see if we are where we need to be. No, and we still need to remove more height. Check again. Now I've got the height. We'll go one stroke this way to remove the scratches. And there you go. That fret's done. Check one back, check one forward, is level. Move on to the next one. Okay, same again. This is high from there to there, so same again, just working that one fret, using the frets around it as guides. You'll tell by the amount of resistance you're getting whether you're need to remove any more material or not. Just high on the outer edge now. And we're all good. Check one back, check one forwards. That one's a little bit high now, so now I need to remove material from this one, because now I've removed material from there, that one's a little bit high. Very simple, straight across. Level, check the next one. Check one back, that's a little bit high again now. Just a matter of just keep going back and forward, keep checking. And I think we will be there with those. Still a little bit high, that one's done. Tiny bit of rock on each. And now we're good. Brilliant stuff. So we'll just go across, remove some scratching, level, one more to do this one. Doesn't need a lot of work. Good. Check one forward, one back, that's fine. This one's going to need quite a bit of work. There you go, beautiful. We're there. That's fantastic. So that's it. The 8 frets that needed work are now all level. Just check again. Excellent. Check one forward and one back. That's great. So I may as well check the lot while we're here. Frets are now all level. I know the ones up here are done because I've done them. So there you go. So what I need to do now is I'll go with the profiling file when I find it. And this is already arced, it's got the groove in there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to reprofile everything. I'm just going to reshape the fret. I'm going to do all of them. So any burrs on there, we're going to remove. Do 2 or 3, then I will wipe the file and we'll move on. This is just going to, where the frets have gone a little bit flat, we're now going to put that arc back in there, which we call the crown. Once this is done, I will tape up the fingerboard and I will go and polish the frets. This is going really well, so I'm going to do this off camera, get the frets polished. Once they're polished, we'll get the strings back on and we will go and get the nut, or prepare the nut. The nut needs cutting this side, with slots are very, very hot, much higher than we need to be. Once that's done, we'll get the setup done and the guitar will be finished. Yeah, the video is going to go a bit weird now because I thought I had the camera on and I didn't, and I've been filming what I thought I was filming, me polishing the frets and cleaning up the fingerboard, and the camera wasn't running, so you've missed all that. But what I've done is taken a fret guard, placed it over the frets, and I've polished the frets with just steel wool, finest grade steel wool. And the frets are all polished. I've also gone and sprayed the whole fingerboard in lemon oil, which is a mineral oil with a hint of lemon in there to make it smell nice, especially formulated for rosewood and ebony guitar necks, or fretboards in particular. And I've let that soak in a while, and while I polish the frets I let it soak in a bit more, and I'm just going to wipe it all off. So the fingerboard has now been treated and cleaned. The frets have been levelled, recrowned and polished. In hindsight, we do have some deep grooves in these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets. The frets are that low, we wouldn't be able to reshape them. If I took any material off there to get rid of these grooves, the frets would be too low to play the guitar. We'd have to lower the whole lot. So the best scenario for this guitar will be a refret, and that'll be something we need to look at in the future. But for now, it's going to play absolutely fine. We've got the neck as straight as possible. We've levelled all of the frets, so we've got a nice flat playing surface. There's not a lot of life not a lot of life left in these frets, but consider this guitar's 36 years old, it's never had a refret. To say it's only got these shallowish grooves in there, even though the frets are quite low, that is not bad at all. In the future, I see no reason why you wouldn't want to refret on this, because if you had 36 years out of it now, some new frets on this, if these are the first set of frets, you're going to get another 70 years out of it. It's going to outlast you, probably. So that will be my recommendation somewhere down the line. But that said, the guitar is going to play fine. I'm now going to just remove, I'm just going to carve, this is a plastic saddle and a plastic nut by the looks of it. And I would rather go with a composite resin, something like Tusk or New Bone, which are both man-made substances by Graphtec, Tusk T-U-S-Q. And the good thing about it is, the good thing about not using bone is you're not killing animals for the bone to use in a guitar. It's a man-made composite, it's hard, it gives you the same tonal qualities as bone, it's easy to carve, and it's not harming anyone. So that would be my recommendation. Also, maybe we're going to change this out, because it's got little small grooves in there where the strings have cut in over 36 years. I'm going to file that ever so lightly, but I don't want to remove any height from this because it's low enough, and we can't really go any lower because that will start ringing out and buzzing. So I'm just going to check that that is high enough for the strings. I think it is. I may have to shim this side just a little, just to bring it up a little bit, bring the action a little bit higher. It will bring the action a little bit higher, but we can't get around that. But this to me is a little bit low. So I'm going to get some strings on, see where we are with the action. I know the nut slots want recutting. I'm going to do that as well once I've got strings on, and we'll check the saddle. If I have to shim it, we have to shim it, that's fine, but it's all about getting the guitar perfectly playable for now. So I'll crack on with that, and I'll come back and give a final update when the guitar is ready. Okay, so with it being Christmas week, I moved on with the guitar and I've got everything done. And one thing I've done this morning is I've recut the nut slots for the strings to get the strings a lot lower down. Got the action as low as I can get it and my neck as straight as I can get it. The thing is with this, probably just because it's an old guitar, even with the truss rod loosened, I've still got a little bit of relief in there. But like I said, I've got the action as low as I can. The guitar plays fine. Is it in tune? I think it's in tune. So you get it. And it plays just about as good as I can get it playing. If we needed to check anything in the future, we do have a bit of belly bulge here, and the bridge is pulling forward a little bit, but because it's a free job, I'm not going to do any other extensive work on there. It still plays fine as it is, and Dave's going to get a few more years out of it. But in the future, I thought if his belly bulge gets any worse, we'll sort that out, and what we'll do is we'll shape some material from the top of the bridge and drop the saddle in a little bit lower so we can lower that action here. As I look at the neck, the neck set looks pretty good. Though the neck is pulling, it's pulling up this way a bit. It could just be because there's a dip in the body there. The thing is, we've got 60 kg of string tension pulling on this top from the bridge, the body or the top is going to warp, and that's what's happened in this case. But the guitar is still very, very playable. It is a, like I said, how old is Dave? Dave's a year older than me, and he's had this since he was 18. 20, so he's had it for 36 years. 35, 36 years, so his guitar's 36, 37 years old, so it's not doing bad. It does sound good, looks good, but that's it. There's nothing more I can do on the guitar. Like I say, it plays sound. The strings could possibly do with changing, but Elixirs, they are coated, so they will last a little bit longer. I've also tidied up all the overhanging strings that I don't like to see bits of string hanging off headstock, but that's it. That is this one done. It is a Yamaha FG335 Mark II. Made in Taiwan, it says. Republic of China, blah 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 blah. Beautiful guitar, it plays well, it looks great, and it's finished. So, the project's out of the way. Well, it's not really a project because I've done this for nothing because it's for a friend. So, I can move on to other things. I've been refretting one of my own guitars this week in between doing the Christmas things you must do. I've been also in here working on some of my own guitars, and I'll give you more news about that later. But for now, this is done. Project is finished. So I'm Victor Christian. I'm your fret friend. You can check me out at facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. Until next time, fret friends, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon.